Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach Soto, and I am here for episode number 25 of Honor Radio. And today is a special show where we are going to be having a Memorial Day special with 3 Gold Star families. And this is Honor Radio. Well, guys, I got to tell you, to me, it's going to be really hard for me to fight back tears during this show. We have 3 special guests with us here today. We've got Gold Star father, Kevin Graves, whose son, U.S. Army Specialist Joseph Graves, was KIA. We've got Gold Star mom, Hope Ramirez, whose son, U.S. Army Specialist A Ramirez, was KIA. And we also got Patty Schumacher, dear friend of mine, CEO of the Honor Group, nonprofit, and who's a very good friend. U.S. Marine son, Victor Dew, also on this show. Guys, I got to tell you right now, it's an extreme honor to have you on this Memorial Day show. I'm just going to jump right into this, and I'm going to start with Kevin. Kevin, why don't you tell America what Memorial Day means to you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Mark, for inviting us to be on here today, because this is not a normal Memorial Day for us. We've had something taken away from us this year, just as our graduating students have, without being able to go through graduation, and other events that are sometimes once-in-a-lifetime events that have been taken away from us because of this COVID situation. And we're not able to do the usual things that we do for Memorial Day. So it's always difficult, but I think it's a little more challenging this year in finding ways to honor our kids. So I just want to thank you for having us on here and giving us this opportunity to remember that Memorial Day is the one day of the year, where we stop to honor those that have given their life while serving their country. And
thank you.
So a little bit about Joe. Joe was a regular guy. He was 21 years old when he was killed. He was, I raised him as a single parent. He was my only child. So it's been a drastic change. It's been a path that nobody would choose to walk, but yet it's a path that we are all on. And the good news is that we share this path together as Gold Star families, and we lean on each other and support each other. The grieving never stops. I will grieve for the rest of my life for the loss of my son. If when the pain stops, he ceases to live in my heart. So I look forward to the pain every day. Memorial Day typically is a time for the rest of the country when we talk about barbecues and cherry pie and water skiing, and this is what it used to mean to me, to be perfectly honest, prior to this. To having Joey when I was younger, and but to those of us that have experienced this, it's much more significant. In fact, it's extremely significant, and we just want to make sure that our heroes are never forgotten, and that's really important thing, because the Iraqi war is over with. Joey happened to be killed outside of Baghdad, Iraq. That war is over with. We have people there still, but we're not at war anyway. And so it's important that we continue to remember the fallen, and it's important to the families that we keep the memories alive and keep their legacy moving on. The legacy of our kids continue through the banners you see behind us. They continue through the work that we all do together to support other families that are going through this. And we're all very active in that. And it's important that we continue the mission that our kids couldn't complete.
Free five! Hands up! Free five! Hands up!
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Hope.
Or hua if you're, in the Army. But, okay.
Hua.
Kevin, thank you so much for those words, and it's an honor to be able to take some time to honor your son and your family for the great things that you do out there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get through this segment. Hope, why don't you tell us, my friend, what Memorial Day means to you?
Well, thank you for also having me on here, and thank you for allowing me to share Ray's story, because that's what we live for every day, is to make sure that he's being honored, to make sure that all our heroes who have fallen and their lives have been cut short are being honored, not just on Memorial Day, but every day, because in our hearts, they are being honored every day. So I want to thank you, Mark, for giving me the opportunity to speak Ray's name. Memorial Day to me, gosh, it means so many things. And as I try to fight back the tears, you guys know I'm a crybaby, but it means so many things. It's a brotherhood, a sisterhood. It's our freedom. You have these brave young men and women who fought doing something so selfless. Their bravery is beyond imagination, and they're heroic. It's a time for those who may not understand. Sure, gather with your families. We've been guilty of that ourselves. You know, before we lost Ray in Afghanistan on June 1st, 2013, he's 20 years old. We didn't look at things the way we do now. Sure, we always honored our heroes. Sure, we always honored our military. Sure, we always, prayed for those fallen, for those families who lost their loved ones. Did we ever think we'd walk in these shoes? No, never. So to me, Memorial Day is a day to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, to remember those who continue to give us our freedoms, to remember those who have done something that only the 1% have done. So I say from my heart, if you choose to spend time with your family, if you choose to do the barbecues, if you choose to do a gathering, sure, do it. Enjoy that time you have with them, because we don't do that anymore. We don't have that time with our son, with our children, with all 4 of our children. It's 3 of us now. It's 3 of them now. And then Ray's father and I. That's our family time during Memorial Day. When we go to Ray's gravesite and sit there and place flowers and place his, candy and his little treats that he likes, that's what Memorial Day means to us now. Doesn't mean it has to mean that to everybody else, but as long as you know what Memorial Day means, and you at least say a little prayer if that's what you believe, or just, say thank you to our heroes who have fallen, our heroes who can't be here with us anymore. Just understand that that's what Memorial Day is about. If you can just give just a few seconds to just know that difference and to know what this holiday means, then I thank you. From our family to yours, I thank you.
3-5. Get up!
God bless you, Hope. Thank you so much.
I was shaking.
You always speak from the heart, and that's what makes all of you so special. And thank you so much. Lastly, Patty, I put you last for a reason, Patty, because Patty and I have a history together when it comes to her son and the death of her son. And I write about it in my book. It's going to be coming out. You guys will be reading all about it. But Patty, tell us, what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Like Hope originally, now my voice is getting shaky.
Sorry.
Memorial Day was a weekend of partying. And this year, my anniversary is actually on Memorial Day, May 25th. So my 24th anniversary is overshadowed every year now with the death of our son, because Memorial Day is the one time of the year that within the United States that we are to honor our fallen, those who have given their life while in service to our country. So for us, our anniversary has kind of shifted from a party time to honoring. Not that we never honored before, we did, but it does mean something else. Do we want everyone to go out and enjoy themselves? Absolutely. And the reason for that is that our children, our loved ones, gave their lives to protect our Constitution, to protect our freedoms. And because they selflessly volunteered to serve, we are entitled to those freedoms today. It's not the politicians that give it to us. It's our Constitution and our armed services who give that to us so that we can have that time to be with our families, to have that barbecue, to go ahead and party. So yes, it is hard. It's amazing to realize that this year is very paramount to all of us. And for us, this year is extremely, extremely hard. My other two children have turned 13 and 21. Vic, in just a few short days, would have been 30. And we also have this year 10 years in October that he gave his life for his country. So it's a very hard year. And on top of with this coronavirus, to where we cannot have our parades and honor our fallen. We cannot go out and have those morning breakfast pancakes that a lot of ones that we do. We can't go to the cemetery and have the services that we have every year. Those have been taken away from us in the things, the way that we normally celebrate and honor our fallen. But within our hearts and within our families and within our Gold Star community, we will forever be honoring our fallen, because Memorial Day to us is every day. It is not the last Monday of May. It is every day that we honor and love our fallen loved one. Because
Get up! 3-5! Get up! 3-5! Get up!
Gotta get some, Patty.
I'm trying to get some because our fallen are the ones that we cherish, and our loved ones, we love them every day. We don't stop loving that person because they walked out the door. We love them all the time. We still love our children, our spouses, whoever that loved one is that has fallen. We love them to our last breath, just as Kevin said. We love them, and that will never change. And I know that all of us are going to see them on that day when we cross over. It is going to be a glorious reunion.
Patty,
And then, you know me, Mark, I love playing with numbers, and I love attaching a lot of meaning to stuff. I find it very ironic that not only is my anniversary the 25th, Memorial Day is the 25th. This happens to be your 25th segment. And the way I see it is that we are honoring the 25 fallen of 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, who fell during the Sangin deployment of 10.2 in Afghanistan.
3-5! Get up!
wow, Patty, I mean, yeah. All of you guys do so much and such great things out there to remember the fallen, to make sure that your kids' names are never forgotten. Kevin, let's talk a little bit about what you do with your nonprofit. I want people to hear what you do throughout the year to keep Joey's name alive and to help others. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We established a nonprofit soon after Joey was killed because I couldn't find direction in my life. I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. I couldn't figure out in what direction God was guiding me. And we established Some Gave All, the Joy Graves Foundation. We've been around for about 14 years now. Joy was killed in 2006. And we try to provide venues for Gold Star families to come together to be able to find that healthy path of grieving, because I firmly believe, and it's one of our mantras, is that if you don't find a healthy path to grieving, you are going to die, and you're either going to die physically or you're going to die spiritually, but you're going to die. You're going to be angry. You're not going to find the right channel to find honor in the sacrifice. And when I speak, I speak the perspective of a parent. I can't speak in the perspective of a spouse or a sibling. So forgive me if I seem exclusive in that aspect, but that's the only path I know. And so as a parent, if you can't find a way to find honor in the sacrifice of your child, it's going to make the grieving process more difficult. So we provide venues for families to come together. And also we sponsor events that honor the fallen. We are the fiscal sponsor for California Run for the Fallen, where we run 150 miles in 3 days to honor all the 765 or whatever there are fallen heroes in the state of California, and we honor each one at every mile marker. And we do that over a 3-day period with the assistance of Travis Air Force Base and the airmen up there that run for us. We help sponsor an event every year that we all go to over in San Francisco, the Honor and Remember event. We contribute to that because I believe that event actually put me on the path that I'm on today, in that it gave me the understanding that there are people that have walked in these footsteps, a couple of Marine parents actually, that have walked in these footsteps in front of me and showed me where those footsteps in the snow were, if you want to use that analogy, to where I wasn't falling and being buried. I found solid ground to walk on, following in the footsteps of other families. So I felt that that it was important for me to also try to provide that same foundation for other families so that they could find that healthy path. So we've been doing this now for, like I said, for 14, 15 years, and it saved my life. I wouldn't be here, probably would not be here speaking with you right now, Mark, if we wouldn't have found that path.
God bless you, Kevin. Your work is amazing, and I follow it, and I can't say enough, and how much I respect and thank you for what you do. How about you, Hope? I know that you do a lot out there too. Your social media is always talking about Ray and the gold stars. Tell us a little bit about what you do to keep yourself busy throughout the year.
Well, it's not easy, I'll tell you that much. Every day you pray to wake up and feel okay. When you go to sleep at night, you pray that, you don't have the nightmares and the heartache, the, insomnia that we live with every day pretty much. Oh gosh, I'm just at a loss for words right now. I keep Ray alive by saying his name, to others. I teach people what Memorial Day is, what Veterans Day is, the difference of that. My social media, it does blow up at times to where people are just, there's constant prayers, there's constant, your hero will never be forgotten, always remembered, never forgotten. And to me, that's what keeps us going, Out of my family, I think I'm the one who tends to express my feelings a little bit more. My husband's a little bit reserved, and he appreciates the fact that I can speak about Ray. But I feel like I need to be the voice in that family to do so. If God's giving me the strength to say his name, to, tell his story, just so he is not forgotten, then I thank God just for the energy to do that. They say that you die once, but you die twice when you're not remembered anymore, when you're forgotten, when people don't speak your name. And I don't want that to ever happen with Ray. So until my last breath, until I see him in heaven, that's what I'll do. And Patty actually has helped me. Gosh, when Ray first passed on June 1st, 2013, and shortly after, Patty reached out to our family, and her and Tom Schumacher and her husband, and I looked at Patty with so much strength, and excuse me, I just remember sitting there and wondering how she did it, how she how she was able to speak about Victor, how she was able to laugh, how she was able to smile. And it's not that I didn't want to see that from her. I just wondered how she found that strength to do so. Because there was a time that, you know, and I'm sure you guys felt the same thing. You didn't even want to go on. You didn't want to wake up. You wanted to just kind of isolate yourself to never see the world again. And the Schumachers, they helped us so much with that path that Kevin was talking about. And you know, Mark, you guys reaching out to us, the Honor Bowl, Kevin in San Francisco, the memorial we go to every year at the Marine Hotel. It just, those are the paths and the friends and the events that we need to continue to help us along our journey, because these are shoes that nobody wants to walk in. Nobody wants to feel the pain that we feel. And I don't wish that on anybody. But because of these events, because of these, you know, the wonderful people that we have around us as Gold Star parents, and just being able to speak our child's name, it's what helps us to get up every single day, to wake up, to push forward, and to just make sure that they're always remembered.
It's such a powerful,
Free
it's such a powerful family that the Gold Star families are. I mean, when they get together, when they love on each other, it is something that is extremely powerful. And I got to tell the people that are watching this, if you ever have an opportunity to hear a Gold Star speak, to hear their heart, to hear their memories, to hear them talk about their loved ones, I want to encourage you, go do it. It is something that you'll never forget, and you'll understand better, just like you are through this podcast, the reason why we are so passionate about the men and women that fight, bleed, and die for our freedom. And Hope, if they ever get a chance to hear Hope speak, I think you could tell she's a very passionate woman. We had her speak at a church function in front of 500 people, and there was not a dry eye in the place, and they got it. And same with Kevin, and same with Patty. And Patty, why don't you summarize this podcast and talk about a little bit about what you do with the Honor Group. I know that you are a special advocate, not only for the Gold Stars that are always involved in our event, but also how you work with the military. Talk a little bit about what you do to keep the memory of Victor Dew alive.
Well, Mark, within our Honor Bowl, and in talking with the kids, because what we do is that we bring the students, several of the students on the football team, let's go back, rephrase it. We bring several of the teams onto Camp Pendleton. And with my association with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines in Camp Pendleton, we have been able to bring the entire football teams onto the base, and they get a firsthand look at what goes on the base. Not everything, but just a small portion of it, and especially our battalion, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, they get to hear from the officers of either regiment or battalion. We put them through a few paces to where they actually get to see what it's like to do up downs, being drilled off a bus.
They get a special reception, Patty.
Yes, it's a very special reception of these kids. And what makes it amazing is that they don't necessarily have had the experience of talking to any military personnel before. So we get to bring that to them. We have very special treats for them in the way that we bring in wounded warriors to talk with them. They may never have seen someone who's lost their legs, or an arm, or an eye, or multiple amputations due to loss on the battlefield. And it gives them an appreciation of and understanding of what our military does for us on a daily basis. I will speak with them, and I speak through the eyes of a mother, through the heart of a mother. getting them to, bringing it down to them and understanding that the ones that are giving their lives could be their brother or sister. It could be their cousin, their best friend, their next door neighbor. It does get very personal at that point when you realize that a couple of them have absolutely no experience. And then they start realizing what our military does for them, does for us, does for our country. And it is so eye-opening and so encouraging to educate our youth of what we do for them, meaning us as through the honor group and us as in through the families of our fallen and anyone who even serves, because it is so special to have them be educated in this way that the standard person, the normal person, cannot get on base. And to be able to talk with someone on a one-on-one.
Yeah.
You and I know very well that we've actually had some of these football players actually enlist.
Yes.
Granted, and tell the world this is not what our goal is. Our goal is not recruitment. Our goal is education.
Yes.
Through that, through our honor tours at schools, when we have all school assemblies, 2,000 kids being talked to, and get motivational speakers, whether it's military, whether it's a standard motivational speaker, whether I'm up there talking to 2,000 kids. And when, you know as well as I do, when we hear them start chanting USA, USA, all on their own, and they're standing up and applauding our veterans from Vietnam, from Korea, from even, we've had World War II veterans there. It is absolutely amazing in getting that they get it. They're learning our history. They're getting that America is so rich in service and selflessness. And it's a joy.
Rick, where's the get some? Why are we getting the get some right there?
I'll put it in. I'll put it in.
And it's such a joy to me because it gives me the opportunity to talk to our next generation. And as you all know, I am all for education. And when I've had the opportunity to talk to kindergarten through 3rd grade and get them to understand on a very small level what Memorial Day is about, what Veterans Day is about. It is such an honor for me to have that little spark in them so that they can go home and ask their parents, what is this about?
You know,
that's my joy.
Patty, there's no doubt about it. You're one of the best. And I got to also say, Kevin, we've had Kevin involved in our event. Last year, he came out, and it was a special, special time when you actually got to meet the coaches of the high school that your son went to. That I'll never forget when that coach met you, and he broke down. He broke down. He had heard of you. He had heard about your son, and it was such a great time for him to meet you right on the football field before their big game. And Hope, the times where you've participated in our event and put the helmet on the battle cross or another item on the battle cross, you've been involved several times with us. Patty, always with the stirring, putting of the dog tags on the battle cross in front of thousands of people. No one's ever seen this before in the type of environment that we do, right? And we want America. We want the youth of America. We want the coaches of America. We want the communities of America to feel it. We want them to feel what it's like for you guys that had family members that have given their all for our freedom. And for the fact that we have the liberties that we have today, we want them to feel that. I got to tell you guys, we're gonna end this show, but I cannot thank you enough for the honor and of you guys being on this show. I know we put this together just in the last 24, 48 hours, but to have you guys on our Memorial Day special so that the nation could hear your story and to hear what Gold Star families feel on Memorial Day. We're honored. We're honored, my friends. And God bless you all. I wish you nothing but peace. I wish you nothing but blessedness on Monday, and I hope you all have a blessed Memorial Day.
Thank you very much for the opportunity,
Thank you,
Mark.
This is Honor Radio.
Thank you.
We're saying see you later. Our next show, we are working to get CIF Director Ron Nichetti back on because we're starting to get real close to find out what's going to be happening with schools reopening. So we're working with Ron on getting him back on the show so you can hear directly from him what's happening and getting our sports programs re-energized and our schools reopened. But that is it. God bless you once again, Gold Stars, Hope, Kevin,
Thank
Patty.
you.
I hope you all have a blessed Memorial Day. God bless you.
Have a blessed